Hey, what's going on folks? Sean Arnold here and welcome to the final episode of the Week of Amazonist theme. I've really enjoyed doing the Week of Amazonist. It's really brought me back into playing this game, and I've actually really enjoyed playing this themed deck. And I'm going to actually carry on playing it in the future, I believe, because I've worked so hard on it, and it's just it's been a blast really just to revisit this old theme and try to make it as competitive as possible. Tomorrow will be a new themed week with a new different type of deck, but for this final episode I'm just going to talk about what I learned and how I have improved my deck along the way. Now before I go on to talking about what I learned, I just want to note that I wanted to actually put up a lot more footage of myself playing online. However, with this game I found that there are way too many rage quitters. There are too many people who either how does it normally happen? Normally what happens is I start to beat them, and when they realize they're getting beaten by Amazons, they decide to rage quit. And I think it's fine. It doesn't really bother me too much. I could care less if you rage quit against me, but I feel like for a viewer, for someone that's watching an episode, they're gonna want to see the whole match through, because who knows what could happen or could have happened at the end. Also, I also kept running into a lot of new players. Now I love playing with a lot of new players, but it's not necessarily entertaining to watch. A lot of new players take a lot longer to make moves, they want to think about what they're doing, and that's perfectly fine, but I just didn't think it would make good videos. If you guys want to see me playing more of the Amazonists and uploading videos of that in the future, just let me know and I'll absolutely be happy to do so. As long as people are going to watch it, then I'm more than happy to do it. As for today, I'm going to be talking about how I changed the deck, which I uploaded in the early episode, in the building the deck episode. So if you haven't seen that, you might want to go and check out that episode. It's up on the channel a couple of days before this video. But if this is the first time you've seen it, then this is the deck which I used to have. Now this deck has changed a lot since I made that episode, and I've actually done so much free playtesting and tried to improve it in many ways. So this is the majority of the deck here, and these are the cards which I removed here, and I'm going to just talk about why I'm removing them one at a time. Amazonist Trainee, overall I just felt like I didn't need 3 copies. 2 copies just seemed to be enough. She doesn't have much of an attack, and while she was consistently being coming out to the deck, I just didn't really need 3 copies of her, so I thought let me take her out and make some room. Warrior Lady of the Wasteland. But now I kind of just felt like I just needed 1 copy of this card. I don't need 2 copies. Normally I can get her quite early in the game thanks to reinforcement in the army, and once I've got 1 copy in the field and she is destroyed in battle and summons another Amazoness, I don't really need to do that again. In fact, the effect is quite slow. Snatch Steal. Snatch Steal I actually might keep in the deck. The thing is that Legacy of the Duelist is playing in the old format, is playing in the January 2015 Forbidden List format, and in the current format Snatch Steal is banned. So when I've had other people suggesting ways I can improve the deck, I've had to take Snatch Steal out just because it's not actually a legal card right now, but it is for this game. I might put it back in. I might try to just keep this deck list suitable for this game, but when I get suggestions or people help me or whatnot, or other people might want to rebuild this deck, I want to try and also keep it as current as possible. Solidarity. I know in the last episode when I spoke about Solidarity I said that it's never really a dead draw. I've kind of find that it can be sometimes, particularly with the low monster count in this deck. Sometimes I can draw a Solidarity and not have a monster out. Not very often mind you, and it's still a very good card, but it just happened a little more than I would like it to, so I'm just going to go with 2 copies of Solidarity now. Upstart Goblin. I really learned something good about this card. What I learned about this card is that it's a good 1-for-1 card, but it's good really in decks which can really capitalize over using it. How do I describe this? I can give my opponent 1,000 life points, but if I'm running a deck where I summon lots of big monsters and I do tons of damage on them turn, then giving my opponent an extra 1,000 life points isn't going to make a difference. It's not going to win the duel for them. However, for the Amazonists, they don't necessarily do that. They kind of chip away at the opponent's life points in smaller chunks, and therefore Upstart Goblin kind of will give my opponent an extra turn or 2, and I'm really glad that I've done all this playtesting and I've learned this about the card, because it's still a good card, but it's just not necessarily best in this deck. And finally, Call of the Haunted. There's just a card which I'm going to swap Call of the Haunted for. I think Call of the Haunted could kind of be slow in the early game because it's not really easy to get the Amazoness to the graveyard. Plus, you need to get at least 2 cards to the graveyard because you want to keep 1 in there for solidarity. So Call of the Haunted is still an okay card, but I decided to take it out. Also, I took out a lot of XC monsters. Now, originally when I built this deck, I was looking for mostly rank 4 warrior type XCs, and I'm going to take out a whole bunch of them, because what I was advised was that you shouldn't try to limit yourself, particularly for an extra deck which you're not always going to be using, but you shouldn't try to limit your options where possible. Even though the warriors in this extra deck have synergy with solidarity and it can be summoned using the Amazonesses, there are just other cards in which you could be using for the extra deck which present options which the main deck doesn't have. Now I'll talk about what kind of cards those are later, but there are just cards in here which just didn't need to be used, particularly in a deck like this which doesn't XC summon a lot. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking out 1 copy of Excalibur, taking out both Comics Hero King Arthur because they basically are redundant with Utopia. I'm taking out 1 Gaga Cowboy. I'm taking out 2 Gandivas, and I'm keeping the 2 Blade Ninjas, and I'm going to add some more XE monsters, but I'm going to go for non-warrior types as well, just to keep my options as open as possible. Alright, so I'm going to catch you guys in a second where I will go to what the new deck looks like. Okay, so here are the changes which I am making to the deck. They're all down here in the side deck at the bottom. The first change which I'm making, or card which I'm adding, is Tasky Knight. Tasky Knight is a light based level 4 warrior which really works well with the Amazoness in terms of getting into a rank monster, and its effect is simple. When an opponent's monster declares an attack and you have no cards in your hand, and this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your graveyard, then end the battle phase. You can only use the effect of Tasky Knight once per duel. It's a really solid card, I feel. It really helps for me getting 2 monsters on the field so I can XC summon, which I'm doing a lot more now. And I think he just works well within the deck. He gets boosted by solidarity, he's searchable, he's just great. This is the card which I'm swapping Call of the Haunted for. It's just a lot more reliable in terms of that he can attack as well as he revives himself. The next 2 cards which I'm adding are Forbidden Lance. Forbidden Lance is a quick play spell card which targets 1 face up monster on the field, and it has kind of 2 effects. 1, it reduces that monster's attack by 800, but 2, it protects them from spells and traps. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword, this one, and all of the Forbidden cards are kind of like this, or the cards with Forbidden in their name. How Forbidden Lance is useful is that it can be used offensively and defensively. Offensively, I could use it when I'm attacking a monster and reduce their attack, but if an opponent tries to destroy my monster, I could use it on my own monsters to protect them from spell and trap effects. So it's really diverse. It's really flexible. It kind of works in many situations, which is really useful for this deck, which doesn't draw very quickly. Speaking of drawing, we've got Terraforming. I've decided to add Terraforming after taking out Upstart Goblin, and Terraforming lets me get 1 field spell card out of my deck to my hand, and so it just helps me get to Amazon's Village a bit more consistently. Now we have 3 copies of Fiendish Chain. Fiendish Chain is a really good card to use in this meta because opponents mostly do one of 2 things. A, they either try to special summon, or B, they are trying to use really powerful monster effects. Fiendish Chain really shuts down a lot of monsters, and also it stops them from attacking, which is really useful for protecting the Amazoness, so it keeps them on the field longer. As well as Fiendish Chain, I've also got Vanity's Emptiness to shut them down. So I've got 5 cards which shut down effects. Actually, yeah, 5 cards which shut down effects. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now I've got Vanity's Emptiness which shuts down special summoning. And what's great about Vanity's Emptiness is that it's not hard to get rid of, and I can kind of choose when I want to get rid of it. it's destroyed when a card is sent from my field or my hand, no, sorry, from my deck or the field to the graveyard. So Vanity's Emptiness will get destroyed that way, and then I can start special summoning my own monsters. It's really good at basically just stunning any opponent and holding them back. Okay, and now we've got the XE monsters which I've added. The first one, I'm kind of playing around with this, by the way. I'm not familiar with XE monsters too much, but I've kind of tried to add in what people call the staple monsters. And one card which everyone recommended me to add was Castell. I've used Castell in a different deck before, so I know how good it is. It basically allows me to get rid of one monster or one card, one face-up card, and shuffle it back into the opponent's deck. Really, really powerful effect. Also, I added Ragnar Zero. Ragnar Zero allows me to destroy a monster whose attack is different from its original attack, and then draw one card. Really useful against Clifford's apparently because they like to boost their attacks quite a bit, so she's good for that. Then I've got Silent Honor Arc. Apparently this is another staple. Silent Honor Arc is what its effect does is it allows you to take a special summon monster from your opponent's side of the field and equip it to Honor Arc as an XC material. So yeah, it's really good for getting rid of big threats on the opponent's field. And also I've got Crazy Box. Crazy Box allows me, well, basically Crazy Box is a 3000 attack monster. That's why I have it. And it has crazy effects where if I roll a die excuse me, my voice is dry. If I roll a dice, then I can get one of these long effects, which I'm not going to read out, but mostly I get it for the 3000 attack and the fact that it works well with skill drain. So then we've also got Black Ship of Corn. This effect is really simple. I detach one XC monster from here, target a face-up opponent's monster, and then I get to destroy it and inflict 1000 damage to them. And that's really it. So I've added some overall to the deck. I've just added more monsters, which I've added. And so this is what the deck looks like overall now. It's worked really, really well for me. It's really, really great at stunning opponents and slowing their decks down, assuming I can get certain cards out in the first couple of turns. What the real aim of the game is now is that in the first couple of turns I can get either a Fiendish Chain, a Skill Drain, or a Vanity's Emptiness in the first couple of turns, and then while these cards slow my opponent's deck down, I can get into Solidarity and Amazoness Village to speed my deck up and go on the offense. That's what I really try to aim for now. So yeah, this is the deck, and I've really enjoyed playing with the Amazonesses. I'm going to keep on playing with the Amazonesses and try to improve this deck. But I am now going to try and work on a new deck for the new week, so hopefully you guys will join me for that. So thank you guys for supporting this first ever week of themed deck for Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist. And yeah, I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you for watching as always. Much love, take care, and goodbye.